Hi,
Well,
everybody.
we'll go ahead and get started so that we can finish up on time here as well. And I'm sure there'll be a few others that join with us. But welcome to the Mastermind Referral Group. Bob and I started this about a year ago, and it's expanded to multiple countries now, and over 160 doctors, lawyers, scientists, professors, PhDs, a lot of PharmDs from my industry. Obviously, not everyone could be here each week, so when you can join with us, we welcome you, and you're glad that you're here to be with us. Um, we love to refer business, and so that's what this is all about. It's not a requirement to make referrals, but once you get to know, like, and trust people in the group, then it becomes easy to make referrals. And several projects have been started up out of the connections that we've made in this group. So there's at least three projects that I'm aware of that I'm personally involved with from other members of this group. So that's been a real blessing. And I've been an old sales guy from 30 years plus ago. Remember my first real sales job was door to door. I was knocking doors, doing home improvement projects up in the Bay Area of California to earn money for school. And so the owner of the company gave me some cassette tapes. Yep, I'm that old that I used to listen to cassette tapes. um, and there was some really fun tapes on selling from Zig Ziglar, the late great Zig Ziglar, and one of the principles that has stuck with me for over 30 years is that you'll get all you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. And so that's really kind of the foundation of this group. And more recently, Tony Robbins talks about the secret of living is giving. So, like I said, it's not a requirement, but if you can make connections once you get to know people in the group, then please do that. We all like referrals, and we like to give them as well. So, um, each week we like to get a little more in depth on one of the group members, and so we take turns presenting to the group. This week we get to hear from Dr. DeMar. He's a PharmD, so he doesn't throw that around as much as some of our PharmDs do. But DeMar is a doctor of pharmacy, and he'll be presenting to us today. Next week, we have the great opportunity to come with your presentation, kind of your elevator pitch, if you will, ready to get feedback from the group on that next week on February 1st. And then we have other presenters up through February 15th. So if you'd like to present to the group, or if it's been a while since you presented to the group, February 22nd, February 29th are still open and available. I would love to plug you in and let you uh, help us better understand and get more in depth of exactly what you're an expert at. So without any further ado, let's turn the time over to Damar. We're looking forward to hearing from you today.
Great. Thank you very much, Breck. Good morning, everyone. As Breck mentioned, I am a pharmacist, PharmD, and I started 40 or I went to pharmacy school 42 years ago. And then PharmD, it really wasn't necessary, but you could just see the writing on the wall. If we wanted to be kind of viewed as practitioners, then the extra training to make you a drug expert in a particular part of drug therapy was really something that you needed to do. But yeah, spend the time dial forward 40 years, and that is the only degree now. You can't come out with a BS in pharmacy like you could before. And so from that standpoint, and the pharmacists coming out are a lot better trained. But the one thing that was present back then that's present today is it's about taking care of people and providing the best healthcare for them in the form of medications. More importantly, as we get more advanced, um, helping them decide the technology and to make the best decision for themselves or their family members. Um, and the thing that you don't know about me is um, I decided, I've got two kids, and I decided when my daughter was graduating from West Point that I was struggling to get time off from work. Graduation at West Point is a week-long process, and I was struggling to get just a couple of days off, and that was my light bulb moment when I realized that I had gotten the work and the lifestyle backwards, and so the next 12 years, I want my work to support my lifestyle and not make my lifestyle or my life with my family to be second. So from that standpoint, that led me to coaching because when you when you have that much experience, and unfortunately I can't hide all the gray, it makes it very people say, okay, this guy must know something if he's been working that long and still enjoys it. And so they would ask me specifically about why, uh, what I thought about their operation, their business, how they can make it better. And then the pandemic hit, and everything was shut down, and all I heard was, that people were starting to look at other ways to remotely do work, and coaching was one of the things that came up. And so, I really kind of leaned into it because that's the one thing about me that I would say is uh, the most important is or one of the skills that I have is being able to listen. And by listening, I can see things that may not be obvious to the person that I'm working with or coaching. And so from that standpoint, that led me to that. And I've gone through a couple of different programs, and the program that I've kind of now kind of lean on is the one that I'm going to share with you today. Um, and it has to do with looking at the business and looking at it from using data and financials. And for a lot of people in this room, it probably is not, that's not anything new, but I know in pharmacy, we did not get um, really any type of real learning about how to run a business, what to do. We were really trained, okay, you need to be the drug expert. Um, but then likewise, when there's a problem, with getting a med or the med's too expensive, they really don't talk to you about how to do that. More importantly, um, it's not uncommon when I ask a person what their financials are, they they will say, well, why do I need that? I don't need to turn my taxes in right now. And what they don't realize is that um, that in order to make a decision, you have to look at what's going on. One of the biggest problems in small businesses, especially in pharmacy, is being able to manage the amount of dollars that you have going out to pay for the drugs. And you have to wait 30 to 45 days before you get paid. And then, you have to do payroll. And you can't do any of those things if you don't know what your financials are. And so that was one of the things that a lot of the other programs they talked about, you know, different areas, but they didn't really look at how can I give a result to a business owner right away. And so we'll take a little bit of time today to talk about that. And so so I would really categorize myself as really kind of a business profit specialist. And I help small to medium businesses to double, their profits within 12 months or less using a proven strategy, and really looking up to 40 different areas of the business without having to spend money on marketing or advertising. Um, and a good referral for me is a business owner who wants to recession-proof his business, or in this case, inflation-proof their business, grow their business to increase profits, um, and looking at the types of business that they want to get into. I know within the pharmacy world, the we assume that because we're a smart pharmacist and we know that everything there is about drugs, that we're gonna people are going to come to us with their prescriptions because the doctor is going to tell good things about us and all those good things, as opposed to realizing that the consumer, which is the patient or the family member, really knows nothing about us. So we have to reach out, and we have to have some type of lead generation strategy. And now with the machine learning and the internet and social media, using those tools to get our word out there. And likewise, there are business owners who are thinking about potentially selling, or at least looking at 5 years from now, where they want to be, and do they have someone that can step into the business if they want to step away from it. So the industry's pharmacy owners is a definite. Also, healthcare professionals, dentists in particular, because they have a very similar struggle to pharmacy. Service industries, contractors, plumbers, electricians, and power partners are bookkeepers, accountants, business lawyers, CPAs, business brokers, and payroll people. And one of the other things that I've really kind of noticed this last year, and part of it is being part of this group, is making sure that business owners are set up financially in the right way so that they're making profits, but they're also positioned to pay the lowest amount of taxes and to have cash flow. A lot of business owners are undercapitalized, and especially within the pharmacy realm, because of the drug costs are very, very high, and but the reimbursement is lower and continuing to go lower. So in fact, I did a survey earlier this week asking what's the biggest obstacle in business, and it was really focused more towards pharmacy owners. And the categories is DIR fees, low margins, or zero margins. There was one pharmacy owner that I had messaged, where he had 750 prescriptions that he processed in one day. 250 of them were um, $0 prescriptions. So he got absolutely nothing. It covered the costs, but he got nothing behind it. And you would think that is an anomaly, but it's happening in a more and more, and a third of your business. So, if he had multiple pharmacists, one of those pharmacists, he didn't pay their salary for that day. And so from that standpoint, that's, an issue. Regulations are definitely an issue. And then likewise, uh, cash flow. Cash flow is there, really the two categories are similar. You don't have cash flow if your reimbursements are low or zero. And so from that standpoint, that's a thing. So let me pull up. Okay, so this is a tool that I typically use when I'm in like a network meeting, and it's a profit acceleration simulator, and um, it allows again to use data and financials to um, analyze a business. So one of the things that when I talk to a prospective client, I will typically say to them, I can show you how you can double your profits in less than 5 minutes. Double your annual profits in less than 5 minutes. And this is a tool that I would do for that. So let me just type in. It's $100,000 annual revenue. Gross profit margin is 50%, and net profit margin is 10%. And so do you know why I picked 10% for the net profit margin? Anyone?
Well, I can tell you that profit margins have gone tremendously for community pharmacies, so that's actually favorable. Most of their margins are 3 to 5%.
Right, right. Yes, that's right. And but this is the average size business. If you go on Google, you type in the average size small business is about $100,000 in revenue, and they've got a 10% net profit margin. But you're absolutely right, Breck. If a pharmacy can get 10%, they're feeling like they're doing pretty good. Um, and the thing that is interesting, so that with the net profit margin, that means that they're looking about $10,000 in take-home pay, because you don't feed your family off of gross profit margin. You feed your family on net profit margin. So in order to live up to my claim of doubling profits, the two areas that I can do that in is by cutting costs. So let's put 5% in. And so we, in this case, we would go from current profit is about 10,000. So in order to double it, we would have to get to 20,000. And the other one is increasing prices. And typically with most business owners, they fear raising prices. Most business owners will raise prices once in about every 8 to 10 years. And now with inflation is somewhere between 6 and 9% right now. And so from that standpoint, um, you know, if you go to Costco and you buy your gas, their prices have gone up somewhere between 20 and 30%. You go to McDonald's, same kind of thing, and you don't think about, are they raising their prices on me? It happens because they do it in such a, 5%. So a Whopper that was, let's say it was 450 is now 462. And so from that standpoint, it's not going to stop you from um, buying the sandwich. But um, business owners feel that they can't do it because they'll lose customers. And one of the reasons why is really the number two thing on this is market dominating position. They don't have something that sets them out where people will come to them, whether it's a little bit farther or it's a little bit more expensive because they think that they're getting value. And so from that, we're, going back to the claim, I've now given them, $20,000 in revenue, and I've done it in less than, 5 minutes. And this is typically something that I give them, and then we usually will talk about how they can do that, and do that as kind of like a free giveaway. But then there are 10 other areas whereby I would expect to see not a 5% or return, but of 20, 30, or 40% return if we're able to focus in the other areas. And so let me just go over those areas again. We mentioned cutting costs, and those two, both cutting costs and increasing prices, those go to the bottom line. So there's no factoring in it based on net profit margin. Those go straight down. Market dominating position. This is one that a lot of businesses don't really see themselves as having. Likewise, coming up with a compelling offer. Why should I buy from you versus the other person down the street that's selling it for $10 cheaper? Relationships, upselling and cross-selling, being able to find like-minded vendors who you can sell their products to. So a good example is, partnering, doing joint ventures with like Phil and Richard that really put their business owner's business in a good financial state so that they're able, when they have good times, be able to or not really hide the assets, but keep the profits as opposed to paying them in taxes. Bundling, putting together, like for example, in the a pharmacy owner that does vaccinations. A lot of these, especially COVID, the vaccinations, they come with side effects, and they're usually something that happened within the first 24, 48 hours. So having things like Tylenol or if they cause dry mouth, something like breath rocks that you bundle together, and realizing that you can give them a lower cost and a higher perceived value as a result of it. Then downselling. If a person just can't afford your primary offer is being able to give them a something that it more fits in line with their budget or what they're looking to do. And additional products and services. This is the biggest area that I think that I find myself having an impact with business owners is communicating to their customers. And the thing is that your easiest sell is those people that you've already sold to versus going out. And so having a drip campaign talking about an event that you have coming up the next month, or the next 3 months. Likewise, if you have a new product that's come in that's going to really help a certain segment of your community, being able to get that out there. Likewise, alliances and joint ventures, and you can see just and again, it's about relationships and going back to what Breck said about you can have all the money you want as long as you make sure that you help people get what they want. And you do that through alliances and joint ventures. Digital marketing is there, and then likewise lead generation strategies. And the thing that is that I want to highlight is just the fact that this is done, that we can make just small incremental changes and change things. So for example, here, if we just go and we just say, let's do 3%. So we've taken revenue with just small changes in all 12 areas, and we've tripled the annual profit. So that, and those are just minuscule changes. It's, and that's the thing that working with clients is getting them to make the most impactful changes in their business is where they need to start, and then layer in different things. But again, it doesn't take much. So from that standpoint, it's very easy to see when a client signs up with me for coaching, that if we sign up for a year, for me to get them 20 and 30% increases in their profits as a result. And so from that standpoint, that's what that's how I do it, is using the simulator. And there are like 23 or 26 other areas that I can dive deeper in. And I typically will give them this report, and actually I'll do a more extensive analysis with them when they sign up to really show them over the 12 months how dramatic an impact that we can have as a result of that. And that is what I wanted to talk about. Questions?
Yeah, excellent. What do you think moves the needle most for an independent pharmacy? Because that's going to be possibly different than a small business that's not in pharmacy.
The thing really, I would say that the thing that moves the needle the most is number one, defining what they're going to do and what separates them from their competition. Um, so taken, for example, um, a compounding pharmacy, they have defined that they're going to make customized medications. Typically, they're going to do it, and it's going to be something that's more of a cash-based business for the most part, although some compounding pharmacies do bill insurances for them. But they've said, okay, this is where we're going to plant our stake, and we're going to lean into that versus trying to do everything that's out there. So, for example, um, looking, and that's why, Breck, when you look at the Fountain of Youth, you're looking at things that can, again, drive revenues 20 to 30% higher um, without having to put a lot of um, investment either in the way of time or resources.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, so, and then, again, being able to sell other products, like, for example, being able to do the wound care program through a
Mm-hmm.
partnership um, with
Superior.
yeah, Superior. Thank you. I can
Mm-hmm.
remember. Yeah, so that would be the way that I would approach it. And then likewise, the other area that I would have an independent pharmacy looking at is how can I sell to my other customers that I'm already providing prescriptions to?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of our independents, don't make a sell unless a customer comes in the pharmacy. And, if you look at the only less than 20% that even have a website, um, just providing that other 80% a web page and an online portal to sell things 24/7, right? And
Right.
then identify those patients who need some of those supportive things. So if somebody's on metformin, maybe they need a good glucose monitor. So then offer that in your on your online portal, making sales, like I said, even in their sleep.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I mean, just bringing some of those just basic things to their attention. Are you also working with non-pharmacy small businesses as well?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
What type of non-pharmacy small businesses are you working with, Demar?
Um, uh, uh, there's one company and they essentially she has three different businesses, but she's essentially an event planner. She's down in she's actually down in the San Diego area, and she does wine tours. Plus, she has a business where they do essentially mommy's helpers, where they have people that come in and help support a family, with babysitting, doing light housekeeping and that kind of stuff. And then uh, really, I, I, I work with bookkeepers, and but those are usually working with them and their clients, supporting their clients.
Question on the pharmacies. I used an average annual revenue. I've used 100,000 for illustrative purposes. What is an average independent pharmacy? What are they gross revenue?
So the gross revenue is about 1 million, and it can go up to 5 million or 10 million. And the gross profit margin is about 20%
Really?
for on average. And as Breck mentioned, the net profit margin is about 5%, 4 to 5%. And
Okay.
so they're really doing that's a tough thing. And the funny thing is that, I just had a conversation last night with someone that is representing some investors that want to buy pharmacies, and they don't care about the low revenue. It's just that it's recurring revenue. And they're just concerned that they want to minimize or spread their potential risk over several different investments. But typically, with those type of gross profit and net profit, the goal would be to get them in a 15 to 20% or 25% over a 12-month period of time.
Are you including the salaries of the actual salaries of the pharmacists in your expenses when you're dealing with that kind of a margin, or are
Yeah.
you? So there's a salary that's taken out, and you use that as an expense, and you still have a margin of 4 or 5%, correct? I just want to understand. Okay.
And that really is the take home from what Breck was saying earlier. When you look at these clawbacks or DIR fees, and $0 margin prescriptions, if they're taking a third of your business and you're getting $0 from it, then you're just not able to make it. And you a lot of pharmacy owners still want to, I'm going to increase the amount of prescriptions that I fill, because at some point it'll the reimbursement will get better, or the net reimbursement will get better. And that's suicide. That's professional suicide.
Yeah.
And that is really
increasing the negative.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
This cool little software program that you use, do you pay a subscription for that, or where does this come from?
Yeah, it's part of my essentially training or licensing. I guess it's a license, really. So
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's a good tool. And a lot of times just being able to go over with someone and provide them this, even if they don't decide to go with it, it gives them a blueprint of how to move forward and have an impact. And we're not talking big dollars in order to have significant impact.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive, really. I have a question for you, Tamar. This is Bob Levine. So you talked about a bunch of different industries where you can help people outside of community pharmacies, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm curious, when you talk to somebody who's unrelated to community pharmacy, how do you, and you talk about regulations, how are you like, do you check out all the regulations associated with all these other different businesses? And can you let somebody know that how do you let them know you're an expert in their area of work where there's regulations that they need to know about, and that you know them?
Great question. I would say that the way that when I have a conversation with a business owner, I try to make it very clear up front that I don't know their business. They're the expert in their business. What I want to do is help them develop a system whereby they focus on the things that are going to give them the greatest impact. Pareto's principle of 20% of what you do is
80-20.
Gives you 80% of your results. That's all we're doing here. The 12 areas that I'm focusing on is the 20% that are going to move the needle.
Understand.
Dr. Bob, you should do an analysis. You maybe need to increase your rates by 10%.
Yeah, maybe more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, and that's the thing is that a lot of times when we look at what you're potentially going to raise your prices, just the increase means that there's typically about 25, you'd have to lose 25% of your business in order to really have a negative impact on the price increase. And, you know, if they know, like, and trust you, that's not going to happen. Maybe it'll be 5%.
Yeah.
You know, if it's like McDonald's, most people aren't going to know.
Right.
Because the only time they prices come up is when they don't see the value.
Very good. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, any other quick questions for Damar? Like to maybe go around the horn here and make some introductions for some new folks here, but wanted to make sure that everyone got an opportunity to ask any questions they might have.
Well, here's a general question. Do any of you know or heard of Boolean search? Who has not heard of Boolean search?
I've heard of it, but I can't remember what it is. Okay.
Okay,
That was
it's
Richard.
really very simple. When you put quotes around a phrase, what that does is that phrase is the important factor. So even in your profiles, what I'm seeing is people, you know, Richard, I think I was just looking at your profile. Let me bring it up again. Yeah, I'm actually still in your profile. Okay, so if you put in your heading, we bring cash into businesses through programs supported by tax strategies and government credits and incentives. Well, that's all one straight sentence. If you break that up and you put the most important thing is I don't know, business incentives, business cash. What I don't specifically know what I would do with you, but if you can put in your LinkedIn your heading as with Boolean statements, what do you think they would be, Richard? Let me ask you.
Giving cash to businesses, I guess. Right?
Yeah, that's long. I
Yeah.
really wouldn't recommend putting anything over 2 to 3 words at most, because when you add it as a Boolean search, the shorter the better.
You're talking about searches from other people searching it, finding it through mine. Is that what you're saying?
Bingo.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah. One of the problems that I have is that so few people, businesses, realize that they're missing out.
Yes.
That the problem is one of the problems that exists for for me is that SEO doesn't make much difference because nobody's searching because they don't know that it's out there.
Right.
And
Well, okay, here's an area I'll correct you. Even on LinkedIn, a Boolean search is important. And I think, I believe in my profile, I have separated some keywords and key phrases with quotes.
Hmm.
And as a result, I get searches every day. I get people trying to connect to me every day. So yeah, no, listen, give me a call. I'll come up with some ideas.
I've got it among the blizzards of stickies that I have here to follow up on.
Oh,
That's
are we
awesome.
living in a sticky world?
Oh my God, I can't keep if I put it all in the computer, which I have the follow-ups on there. They're out of sight, out of mind. At least I keep
Well,
these, and if they're here, I have to follow up on them because they remain there.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so everybody's into artificial intelligence now, right?
That's right.
Yep.
Okay. If you think about it, all this stuff becomes impactful when you're using AI, and I'm just starting to get into this. I decided to take my rusty old brain and go look at the old-fashioned stuff that I used to really target. And I think if we can work together to come up with ideas on how to increase people looking at you. Even on LinkedIn, a Boolean search is important. And you know how many people realize that?
Few.
Almost nobody. So, the more that we talk and work on that, I think we'll find that it'll help. So, Richard, maybe we should use you as a guinea pig for
Idea.
our group.
It's an idea.
And tomorrow, I'm ready to send you a note about, the how to split up your profile.
Yeah.
And gosh, I don't know. I haven't even looked at Breck Rice's profile, but I just find that 90% of the time people don't know to use it. LinkedIn does not talk about that, but Boolean search does make a difference.
Mhm.
So that's why I have it. All the other search engines have Boolean search, or most of them, but the world's changing, and I think if we get back to basics, I think we could make a little bit more impact. And impact is called increasing your bottom line. Am I making any sense?
Yep. Yeah. And, just on that search topic, anytime that you do a random Google search, you get just tons of information, right? And it'll only pick up on one word out of context, and it'll throw all that at you. So to put the Boolean or the in quotes that it has to include, both words or the phrase, then you only get results back that include the entire phrase rather than just one of the words in the phrase.
Well, I just pulled up your profile on LinkedIn, and I like it. I think it's always worth discussing, because we tend to be we tend to work in tunnel vision, right?
Yeah.
That it's really about talking with other people that you think outside of the box. And you've used a hashtag, not a hashtag. It's the straight up and down line, whatever you call it.
Slash. Yeah. Mhm.
The slash. In your profile, but I think there's probably you've got healthcare disruptor / remove the middleman / fair pharmacy reimbursements to better serve workers' compensation comp patients, self-insured. I think I don't know if people would be searching those terms, but if you do that, it would be really a lot of fun to see what we could do, Breck, and if it would have any impact on your growth. People don't realize that search is still around, and on Google, Boolean is still a very, very important topic.
Yep.
And I'm just getting back into that, and I got away from it because I've been so busy just keeping up with clients. And I just recently decided I needed to go back and re-look at this and see what you have to say, see what it does, and if it increases it. So any of you that are interested in talking to me about that, I'll gladly take a look for free. Well, that's why we have this group.
You forgot to promote your meeting tomorrow at 11 o'clock, Bob.
Oh, okay. It's 8 o'clock West Coast.
Yeah.
Pacific.
Pacific, right?
Networking / referral group.
Okay.
That's really how I like to
Which
talk
is
about it.
which is different from what he showed me, because when he said it to me, because he made it specifically for me, it said my city dunce. So
That's funny. So
Yeah.
I know Mike Hayes was trying to get on today and probably would want to promote an upcoming speed networking event that he's launching next Tuesday afternoon. So let me throw that into the chat here for you. So this is the fast paced. You go into breakout rooms for literally 6 minutes, meet 3 people, and then come back to the main room, go back out, and do that 3 or 4 times in a half hour. So it's really fast paced. Let me put that link.
Is Mike
And-
Hayes out of San Francisco Bay Area?
Yeah.
He is, yeah. Yeah. So this is the new Well Wave Now project that Dr. Bob and I and Mike Hayes and one other gentleman, Tim Daniels, are involved in. So we put that in the chat here for you and welcome each one of you to tune in for the inaugural launch next week for it. It's an event and LinkedIn as well.
And
Need
this
to
this,
work
this,
on that
this one is
graphic.
which one? Breck, what is this particular one?
Yeah, so this is a speed networking event.
This is
And
the
then
networking that's in there.
Yeah, so after the speed networking event, then Dr. Bob, myself, and Tim are going to just cover some health issues for anyone that wants to stick around for the second half hour.
There'll be some
And
Q&A
so
there
it's-
too.
Yeah, so it's Well Wave Now is the new project, and yeah, invite y'all to at least attend the speed networking if you have time. It'll be what is that, 12 noon Pacific time, 3 in the afternoon for y'all in the East. All right, well, thank you everybody for being here today. I'm getting pinged that my next meeting has already started, so I better jump, but it's good to see you. Please let me know if you would like to present. If it's been a while since you presented to the group, we've got a couple of open dates still in February, the last 2 dates of February. And everyone have
Thanks,
a
Tamar.
great rest of your week.
Here.
Thank you.
Take
Yeah.
care. Yeah, great presentation tomorrow. Appreciate it.